Nancy Spears with genConnect. Today I've had the privilege of talking to Lennox, who is such a powerful and passionate woman on so many levels. Not only as a songwriter, her gift to the world through her music is timeless for sure, but her causes, particularly the Sing campaign, is unbelievable in terms of the impact that you're making and the lives that she's saving. Hi Annie, how are you? It's great to see you.
I'm great, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So I'd like to start off with just talking about like how you find your passion. I mean, it surrounds you, and how you tap into it and send it out to the world.
Well, I don't know if it's something that I have found. I think it's something that found me. I think it's something that I have always felt. And I have, I think we're calibrated. Everybody's calibrated differently. They talk about the left brain and the right brain, and how the right brain is creative and the left brain is more sort of logical and stuff. I think when I look back at my own childhood, that I was absolutely right brain calibrated, that our art, music, and the sense of the world around me being quite a cruel place, in actual fact, was something that I've always felt that way, that the world is beautiful, but it's also unjust. And I held that feeling, even when I was very young. So I think, as I say, calibrated. Some of us feel things, some of us are more finely tuned and more sensitive, whereas others that have thicker skin, and things just go over their heads and they don't seem to be as impacted. So I don't know if you find passion. I think you're sort of almost, that's how you're born in a way.
Born with it. So the quality of an old soul actually is that awareness that goes beyond your own self. You certainly have that, not only through your music, but the campaign that you're doing right now for HIV. I think it has to do with being aware of something that's kind of minimizes us as a human being and looks at the world in a different way.
Well, actually, it's very interesting because, it's something very simple, like a metaphor. Get in an airplane, fly above the world and look down at the houses and the trees and the cities, and they actually begin to become tiny. And you realize that when you look at the ants and all the insects, it's that macrocosm, microcosm, it's that whole thing about that you feel very big in your own world. But actually, when you look at it from another perspective, you are so infinitesimally tiny. So there's the strange anathema of our existence, this sort of, how can I say, the challenge of living in a human experience with all of its contradictions and trying to make a life of meaning, of value, and maybe you coming from a background that you have very few resources, so you have to resort to doing something that is dehumanizing. I mean, let's talk about, for example, sex work. They used to say prostitution. Now, the more PC term is to say sex work. I met sex workers in Malawi a year or so ago. I had never actually, to be honest with you, I never sat down with women that were working in that, that business. And as liberal thinking as I am, it was something to sort of, now I'm with people that, they sell their bodies. And spending time with them made me understand. It was so humbling because I understood that for many women in that situation, in that circumstance, very often they're coming from a place of abuse right from the get-go, that someone in authority has abused them. And so from that point on, there's a kind of devaluation of them. And then they're in a position where they have in poverty, and they have to find a means somehow to take care of their children, to take care of themselves. So they will do what they need to do. And survival. So the judgment, survival. So your judgment, it's like, learn it. Don't judge necessarily. Understand the bigger picture about why people resort to means that they have to do in circumstances of desperation.
Absolutely. So I think when you look at judgment just in that very generic sense, frankly, it almost evokes more of a responsibility to be able to use the gifts that we've been given to make a difference.
Yes, absolutely. And I mean, I look at myself, I come from a background where we didn't have a great deal. And I'm proud to say that I come from a so-called working class background. I'm from that generation in the 50s. And they were the post-Second World generation, mothers and fathers. They had very little. So I know what it's like to come from, you know, not very many means. And so I'm very grateful for that in a way, because it might look to some people that you know, I'm a well-known person, I'm successful, and it's absolutely true. I have tremendous resources. What I'm so fortunate with is that with these resources, I can engage with issues that I think are meaningful. That gives my life a sense of purpose.
Absolutely. I was just going to say that the gratitude really shifts us to a space of almost generosity. It's a combination of responsibility and generosity to make a difference in this very short time that we're on this planet.
Well, I think it comes with witnessing.
Okay.
See?
Yeah, that's good.
You see, I've seen so many pictures. We all have. We're inundated with visual images. Warfare, famine, you know, epidemics, plagues, going through the devastation of whole swathes of populations. And you look at the pictures and they're shocking, but you can't, even if you read the statistics, they're hard to identify with. But when you meet a person face to face, within their circumstance, and you see for yourself that person's struggle, that person's narrative, that person's story, everything changes, because that's a human being just like you. And then you feel you're humbled. You connect with that person and you say, I can't imagine walking in your shoes. What would it be like? So for women especially, because again, I'm a woman and I'm so fortunate. I've been brought up in a democratic free society. I can vote. I have so many privileges, and they are clean running water, access to medical care, good nutrition, a roof over my head, access to possibilities in my life, job opportunities, all these things, the education that I received. Now, those fruits didn't drop off the tree in my head. They're benefits, they're privileges. And so why wouldn't I want to be a spokesperson and say other women should have those rights, those privileges, if you like. So that is baked into what I'm trying to do in my own purposeful way. I am trying to wake people up, to make them realize, to make us, ourselves realize there's so much we can do. One person can do so much within their own sphere of influence. You don't have to be Bill Gates. You don't have to have billions of dollars. You don't. Just by shifting your own paradigm, you can become a change maker yourself.
Well, you certainly are a change maker, and your organization, Sing, is really making an impact with eliminating HIV, AIDS, in newborn babies. There's still a lot of work to be done. To your point, you don't have to be Bill Gates to make a change, to make a difference. How can people get involved in your organization?
Well, I think the very first thing, you know, is look, we are all facing infinite challenges. And I think the worst danger is that we become detached, that we switch off, that we're complacent, that we do nothing, and we say there's no point. Listen, 24/7, every day for the last 25 years, there are infinite numbers of organizations that are working night and day, as I said, to make a difference. They're out there. All you have to do, if you have a computer, Google HIV and AIDS and find out which organizations appeal to you, what's in your area. But you have to have a connection to it. You have to have something that says, I really want to get involved in this. Or it could just be that you make a simple donation. According to Oxfam, this global organisation that have been going for the last 50 years, is British-based, what they've told me is that the people that make the most impact in their organisation are the people that give the small amounts regularly. Because all organisations need the financial support. They need that. They need to be able to, you know, to raise amounts of cash. Without that, they can't really function. So there's two aspects to it: is raising the money, and then having people to advocate for them, to work for them. So there's so many ways into it. And I'm amazed that people say, "What can I do?" Because to me, I think There's so many things people could do.
Right.
It's not rocket science, you know.
But it's interesting, just a small donation every month that you really don't even feel, that gives an organization. As an individual, it doesn't make an impact on you at all, but for the organization, it's a steady stream of money that they can budget and count on to do the work they need to do.
Absolutely. And I'm not saying that charitable organizations are the solution. But they are the way for. It is a way forwards. I mean, there are deep. It's, you know, it's like an onion. You peel back the layers, and the more layers you peel back, the more complex it becomes. But just from that perspective, if you've identified something that you feel strongly about, learn about it. Develop that passion for it. First of all, realize that you're not alone in this world. That there are so many things that you can influence as an individual. Collectively, it's like looking at the ocean. You think about all the tiny drops, individual drops of water. Collectively, they make the ocean. So I think what I've tried to do in my own capacity is simply to inspire people to become engaged and become change makers in their own capacity, and just don't shut down, and don't be fooled by this celebrity culture. Don't buy into that. You know, we push all our interests into this junk. It is junk, and it's a huge industry.
It's not so helpful, is it?
And we're obsessed with nonsense. We're obsessed with it. It's a huge industry. There's millions of dollars that are created. You know, we have to simplify it. We have to see ourselves as human beings. We have to have value in things. And this is, we're deluded. We're so deluded. And it makes me crazy, but, you know, that's what I talk about.
Well, let's get the energy back, stop the delusion, shift things to what's important. We will continue to support you in every way we can. You can find out more about the Sing campaign on genConnect.com, as well as, what's your organization called? Sing.
Well, it's just called Sing, and just AnnieLennoxSing.com. I have a little website. That's what I do. But basically, my broader message is just to get people engaged. Just be engaged, and you can see the world changing that way.
Fantastic. Annie Lennox, thank you so much for your passion, your inspiration to audiences around the world.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.